Professor Soyinka plots with UN to seize power from Buhari. Professor Soyinka, a Nobel laureate, has called for the United Nations to intervene and seize control of areas of the country, claiming that President Muhammadu Buhari regime has failed to meet its obligations under international law. Mr. Soyinka claimed that the international community had the right and responsibility to declare sectors of the country as UN protectorates, urging the UN to do a Namibia and preserve certain parts of the country. At an event in Lagos on Friday, August 27, Mr. Soyinka announced we are calling on the United Nations to intervene and end the slave trade. He explained that UN protocols and criteria are broken and signed by a country that country has failed to live up to its obligation. UN Charter on Self-Determination. The right of all peoples to self-determination was originally enshrined in the United Nations Charter. It has, however, sparkled a lot of discussion and controversy. In international law, both the content of the right and who can assert it are still evolving. The International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights (ICCPR) states that all peoples have the right to self-determination. By that right, they fully determine their political status and fully pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. The right to self-determination also has its economic content, which gives the people the right to freely dispose their natural wealth and resources without prejudice to any obligations arising out of international economic cooperation based upon the principle of mutual benefit and international law. The phrase "all peoples" instead of "everyone" attached to the right to self-determination indicates that the right to self-determination is collective, that is, only a people, not an individual, can exercise the right. The right to self-determination was originally thought to belong to the population of the people of a defined territorial unit, notably peoples oppressed by colonial authority. The International Court of Justice jurisprudence and declaration of the granting of independence to colonial countries and peoples both on emphasizes the link between the right of self-determination and the peoples of colonized regions. The right to self-determination is externally exercised in this situation by seceding from a colonial power to constitute a new state. It has recently been proposed that the right to self-determination might also be exercised internally. Internal self-determination permits a people to have more power over their political, economic, social, and cultural growth without actually seceding. With the emergence of concept of international self-determination, a new concept of people has emerged. In this sense, the term "people" refers not just to the inhabitants of a specific territorial entity, but also indigenous peoples and maybe minorities. Despite the fact that there is no universally acknowledged definition of peoples, UN Special Rapporteur Matthias Kobo presented one in a study on discrimination against indigenous people. Indigenous community, peoples and nations are those which having a historical continuity with pre-invasion and pre-colonial societies that developed on their territories, consider themselves distinct from other sectors of the societies now prevailing in those territories or parts of them. They form at the present non-dominant sectors of society and are determined to preserve, develop and transmit to future generations and their ancestral territories and their ethnic identity and the basis of their continued existence as people by their cultural patterns, social institutions and legal systems. Biafra Oduduwa agitation. Igbo organizations claim that federal government's claims insensitivity to the hardship of Indigbo is fueling the struggle for Biafra independence. Chief Serhan Okeye, the Australian leader of indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, told reporters in Enugu on Tuesday, June 9, 2020, that the ongoing agitation for the Republic of Biafra would continue as long as the federal government insisted on treating Igbo as non-members of the country. He added that Igbo had not been treated fairly, emphasizing that the abuse suffered by the people was intensified during President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. Okoye explained that the government had failed to break the IPOB and other Biafra agitators because we derive strength in the fact that we already down and a man down does not need to fear nor fall. You cannot beat a baby and ask him not to cry. If they have beaten us and deny that we are not members of the same cause must cry, and I know those who have ears will not let the tears drop from our eyes to be in vain in the end. By the amount of provocation being carried out by armed herdsmen in parts of the southeast, he claimed that the Buhari administration had treated the Igbo with contempt. Our people no longer farm and go to their farms for harvest easily. They either farm and have their crops destroyed or end up losing their lives in their farms by marauding herdsmen carrying heavy arms. Yet it is the same government that retrieved arms from our people but leaving those of herdsmen who also wield such guns openly, he declared. The newest provocation, according to Okoye, was the interstate movement limitation, which had been repeatedly broken by the able-bodied young men of the north who have continued to flood the southeast in large numbers. Worst still is that these young men move through our checkpoints manned by security forces, whether in the day or at night. Even with the restrictions order against the interstate movement, they travel in long buses and trucks and have continued to occupy some communities and farmland in the zone. Even with the alarm being raised that they constitute security risks, the federal government has continued to maintain sealed lips, he remarked. He added, "We cannot continue this way. We did not fight for independence of Nigeria to be treated as outcasts. We are determined to leave this country for those who said they were born to rule. That is all we are asking for. Allow us to go in peace and take your Nigeria and live in it the way you want." Check out the appointments made so far and you would see the level of nepotism by this government. They kill our people anyhow they like. A good number of our people are languishing in prison custody without trial. Some have not gone to court for one day. That is the same way the government wants us to continue to live. We fought the war and accepted no victor, no vanquished. But what we cannot accept is suppression and intimidation of our people. So for the sake of peace, allow Biafra Republic. That is all. Okoye claimed that the IPOB was a non-violent organization, was added that his advocacy was to ensure liberation for Biafra oppressed people. He went on to say that IPOB in Australia would continue to support any move that led to Biafra's independence. So you guys have heard what is going on about what a man from Australia has talked about IPOB, that they should let them go in peace because of the unjust society in Nigeria, and that is what is affecting everybody here. That is insecurity, there's bad roads, not enough power supply, bad things in the country since the beginning of Buhari administration. So let me know what you think in the comment section. Also like, subscribe and turn on post notifications, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.